My first memories are of a rather desultory meeting at a theatre workshop in Edinburgh with, I think it was Ian Reiki and Heather Baird. And at that point we decided we had to find a way to gather the theatre community in Scotland together under a single umbrella to try to make a difference.
I'm wondering whether the term advocacy would ever have been in the room when the FST started off in 1976. It was much more of a sort of industry body then, i.e. the Scottish theatre industry, and I don't think we'd ever have thought of advocating. But what we were always thinking about is what would we have to do, what would be our common cause where we would band together as a federation to make Scottish theatre thrive and more successful. So it wasn't so much about advocacy in those days, it was more about where do we need to show up, where do we need to influence things, where do we need to bring about change. Really sophisticated, measured, mature and collaborative approach to advocacy.
I suppose the biggest intervention was a National Theatre for Scotland. There had been a history of a call for a National Theatre of Scotland. But it was riven with divisions and opposing opinions and a sense that was old-fashioned. So the Federation set about trying to establish a model.
The FST, it grew at that point, it came together with common cause, and it thought, well, let's influence from the sector. What is the shape of this Scottish National Theatre? What should it be like? And that group, the Federation at that time, came up with the brilliant innovation of the model for the National Theatre of Scotland, a theatre without walls. That was a response to a threat, you might say in some ways, and a response which the Federation turned into an amazing solution for our nation in terms of theatre.
To this day, I think is still what I feel is the greatest single achievement of the Federation and my tenure as its chair.
When we said it takes 39 weeks to write a play, and therefore the commission for Scottish playwrights or playwrights working in Scotland should be double what it is in England, and achieving that and getting the Scottish Arts Council at the time to support it was hugely important. It was tangible and it actually met our needs. I'd also say the work on the modelling for the Scottish National Theatre, the National Theatre of Scotland, was a phenomenal achievement and really, really helped us in Scotland come up with some groundbreaking model, which could only have come from a collaborative venture from all sorts of different types of theatre makers and organisations. And finally, I'd say getting the indicator for culture in the National Performing Framework, which is a real tangible outcome and takes us in Scotland a step forward to civic and life in Scotland, really recognising and valuing the contribution of culture. That's an amazing achievement.
I think members' meetings are one of those occasions where you do get a chance to network with other people and to find out what's happening. FST is very good at just informing us about things otherwise we might not find out about. I think the one thing I do want to mention is the Emporium. Now that's a very invaluable exercise, bringing everybody together from the theatre community to exchange information about what shows are going out there. And it's really, I've stressed this many times, it's really important for the main theatres, the main building-based theatres, the ones who take the work, to be there, to the main artistic directors to be there. It's just one day in the year, and it's so vital for so many young companies to be able to meet directors from building-based theatres and pitch their work to them. Even if we can't take the work, I think psychologically it's a really important thing to do. And I never realised how many companies were out there. I used to think I knew what work was out there, and then you go to the Emporium, you meet so many people who are working on so many interesting projects.
I think before access to theatre there was somewhat going on in terms of audio description, BSL interpretation and captioning, but it was quite sporadic. You had no way of knowing what was happening here, what was happening there. So for the audiences, there was no way of they could go to a venue and find out what they were doing, but they couldn't join up with other venues. They couldn't find out what else was happening in the area. Access Scottish Theatre allowed them to go, okay, I live in Glasgow, here's what's happening across the whole of Glasgow, one very quick, easy to reach guide. So it gave them that advantage. We also know that a lot of people who are not blind or deaf or hard of hearing, they use the guide because it's a very quick way of seeing what's on in Scotland. So it's had quite a big advantage to them as well.
And it helped raise little bits of good practice as well. Things like always advertising the name of a BSL interpreter or audio describer because it impacts on the quality of a production. Things like that, which were not commonplace practice, have become commonplace, which was quite important. The other thing that the guide has done, I hope, is shown ways of providing really clear and accessible information about access at venues.
As part of an initiative that we were running to support disabled artists, we partnered with FST in terms of mentoring disabled artists, and that gave a great experience, I hope, to the mentors who FST was supporting in terms of how they could best support disabled artists and how they could open up their mentoring skills to be more accessible and more inclusive in the practice. I think that was a valuable way of working together and quite a simple, straightforward approach to collaboration.
I've been fortunate enough to receive an FST bursary twice, once in 2010 and again in 2015. In 2010, I was a creative administrator for Lung Ha Theatre Company, and we decided to submit an application together to the FST bursary to enable me to work on their touring production Chekhov shorts.
Gridiron have been very grateful to be the recipient of 4 FST Assistant Director bursaries now. They've made a huge impact to the work that we do and the way that we can support emerging artists and new theatre directors.
The bursary meant that I was able to give up my administration job in the office and move into Lung Ha's rehearsal room to be assistant director with Maria Oller. The bursary meant that I could be part of that process from beginning to end. So from when Maria was picking scripts and deciding which ones were going to be part of the touring production, to when we were in a very last venue and we were striking the set and going home.
I think it's very rare for any company to be able to afford to have that assistant director. But it's also a very critical role, particularly in terms of the scale of the productions that we do. So for the assistants that have worked with us, I think they get a huge experience of working with a large team. But I think without the bursary, we wouldn't necessarily be in a position to afford to have someone. And also I think, although training in institutions is really good now, it's sometimes very hard for emerging directors to make that break into the profession. So the FST bursary really helps with it.
I think a highlight has been going on to watch the work that some of the people that have come to us as bursary recipients have done. Our first FST Assistant Director bursary was Cora Bissett, who has gone on to conquer the world.
And also it keeps us fresh and young and connected. And I always think we learn just as much from the bursary holders as they would learn from us.
Have a great evening, and I hope there'll be another 40 years of successful interventions for the cultural life of Scotland.